once again, there's an opposite, a yin yang thing going on here because I was the opposite of cocky. My problem when I was really young was not enough pride.
Uh,
Right? You're talking about having had some pathological pride.
I forgot to add I had a motorcycle, so you can imagine. In high school.
Oh, you're so egotistical.
No,
Or were.
I thought I was the big I am. Anyhow.
A motorcycle. Yeah, I had a $400 motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
It was 400 cc's,
Uh,
dollar a cc. It was nothing special. But I wasn't proud enough. I didn't believe in myself enough. And I encountered this word in my mid 20s that some professors were calling me. They said I was chicanerous. And I always thought chicanery meant trickery or sneakiness, something bad. And it is something bad, but it's a lack of pride, and it's a sort of flying under the radar, as they used to say in ancient times, putting your light under a basket, putting your light under a bushel. Don't do that, because you're doing the world a disservice. You're doing your team of friends a disservice by covering over your light and being chicanerous, not having healthy pride in your accomplishments. So I've had to grow out of that over the years and find that I do have something pretty substantial to offer. And it's okay to say, you know what? I feel good about who I am and I'm proud of it. Well, I want you guys to have that same experience as well. I want you to strike a middle ground between being prideful and happy about that, but realistic about what your real skills are so that you can take them to a truly higher level that's real, that's not your fantasy world, but also to be proud enough in yourself that you don't go around just supporting others. There's going to be a Machiavellian aspect to being a man, something that's not selfish, it's healthy pride in being a man, that ultimately you must succeed in your mission, even if you have to more than disappoint others.
eliminate.
Eliminate them.
So I think as we talk here, I mean, it sounds like we've really swung for the fences. By that I mean, like, I've had personal experience on the extremes of success and failure, financial near bankruptcy, but also having money. It sounds like in your educational slog, you've had all kinds of. So really, we have pretty good coverage across the map in terms of what guys would want to hear. And as we get into the female element, I'll just share that I've had very many short-term relationships with a lot of beautiful women. So when we get to those issues, I have more than enough to share about how to have an abundance. I've also, as I said earlier, had long-term relationships, so I can offer stuff on that dynamics. Just as we're talking, I see that really we have pretty good coverage across the map in terms of being able to help guys and fill in that role of brotherhood.
Yes. And the idea behind this is it's not going to be just a general personal growth seminar or product. It's not going to be for women at all. It's not meant to be helpful for women. It's not meant to be general. It's going to be specifically the crucial items that a man would need from older brothers, what he needs to know. So with that, let's introduce you to what the topics are. The first is going to be becoming a strong man by developing leadership. And it's also going to involve recognizing leadership in other men, so you know who to align with and who to go to for mentoring. Right.
Making a clean break from childhood to become a man, crucial. I think nothing in that happens overnight. It's a learning process, but Dr. Paul and I will share how we had childish ideas or beliefs that probably stood in our way. And then as we came face to face with reality, with the world, which really the world rewards men, not kids, we had to adjust and then come out on the other side here as men who are fully realized, fully actualized, leading their own lives.
After that will be misconceptions about the alpha male archetype. Once again, back into the dating arena, being a single guy wanting to attract women, there's a lot of material out there that's kind of homespun kitchen table wisdom from guys that really don't have any qualifications to be teaching social skills or what amounts to psychological treatment. of
Hmm.
today's men. And there are a lot of myths out there about what it is to be an alpha male. We're going to give you a very refined, sophisticated, and scientific view of that. And because it's science, it can be relied on.
Next, risk taking, comfort versus exceptionalism. As an entrepreneur and someone who's swung for the fences, both in his dating and in his business life, I feel I can really comment on this. And there's a natural tendency to seek complacency because it's safe, but the rewards that come from trying something outrageous and even failing at it are amazing in terms of personal strength, fortitude, and the ability to. I've found that the human being, or at least in my story, is fairly resilient. So failing at something has guy can learn a lot, and basically when he gathers the resources for his next attempt, he'll deploy those resources in a smart way. They say I'm on my third business, and the entrepreneurs often say it's the third business where you really start to make money, and I've seen that to be true. So I'll talk from a personal perspective quite a bit about taking risks and what that can mean.
Next will be the value of discipline, and you might say patience too, with women and career. So these are the two general areas of masculinity, two general areas of a man's life. And when we're younger, we are more impatient, we're more impulsive just by nature. The older we get, more sophisticated we get, the more disciplined and patient we get. And a lot of times, just being a guy, you want what you want. You want to be efficient. You want to be quick. But there's a big, big payoff to making wise decisions and being patient for the results, having discipline to revolutionize these areas of your life, women and career.
Developing personal authority and healthy boundaries is key to being effective, and we'll talk about that. Basically, what this means to me is taking responsibility for myself and saying, okay, these are my resources. This is what I expect of myself. This is what I can do and what I can't do. And showing up for life, ready to play ball and knowing my limitations, which for me, a lot of boundary setting is to know where I end and other people begin and say, I'm not able to meet you there, or I can't, or yes, I can, and I'm reliable when I say so. So personal responsibility is what this is about.
Next will be dealing with tests from men and women. Now, why tests? What this is going to get at is what's called the counterintuitive in human behavior. When you're a real young guy, you might be more on the naive side. And if you're a friendly guy, you might think, hey, everybody's my friend. I'm just going to be good to people. And what a big brother would tell you is, now, hold on a minute. It's good to be a good person, but there's a lot out there in the world that's good and there's a lot that's bad, and you have to be able to judge the difference. Well, you're going to be tested by men out there to see if you are suitable for their team, if you have a joint mission together, and you most certainly must be tested by women, because if a romance is going to happen, if sex is ever going to happen, if a relationship is going to happen, women are hardwired to have to test you, to know that you are of the level that's going to be of benefit to them in dating and relationships.
We're going to move on from there to the importance of a social network and how to build one. Nothing, as evidenced by this project here, Dr. Paul and I are sitting together. I could never do this alone, and I bring certain things to the table that Dr. Paul knows are valuable. So together we can accomplish more than we could alone. The same is true of any business or family endeavor, for example. So understanding how others can contribute and aligning yourself properly with them basically will allow you to amplify your natural talent so you can be more profitable, be more effective, be more efficient. It's a way to get strength from others.
And then we'll go into making a positive impact in social gatherings. So you will have built this social network. And then what happens when you actually have opportunity come your way socially? This is one of those things that's going to be so crucial as far as never having regrets in your life. Because we get opportunities come our way every day, financially, socially, romantically. And most of the time, most of us don't even see them. So it's going to be crucial to be in the mindset of being awake and aware of opportunity that comes your way. So we're going to learn how to have a huge impact in every social gathering that you're at.
For every guy who's gotten frustrated with a woman when she doesn't cooperate or she gets emotional or she seems Moody. This is going to be a particularly important chapter entitled Understanding and Appreciating Feminine Energy. I have a woman in my life today who is remarkable in her balance and her gentle touch. I will explain how that works. And just a quick share, I was got outraged at a store clerk, not outraged, but a bit uppity with a store clerk the other day. And my girlfriend, in a very sweet and gentle way, kind of massaged and said, you owe that. I think you should give that woman an apology. That was, and she was right. And she allowed me to save face, but also in a gentle, harmonious way, brought some tranquility to the situation. So that's one small example. And now I have the maturity today to say, you know what? I can put my pride in my pocket and realize, yeah, I was out of line. So there's a lot to be said for understanding and appreciating a woman.
So notice something. We both had enough life's experience that we can really speak to being in a relationship, what has to happen in terms of making that go, both from our personal life's experience, but also from a scientific view, the kind of thing that just can't be had anywhere else unless you're an actual clinician, an actual psychologist or psychiatrist. There's a whole technology to making a relationship go. But obviously, being a single guy, just getting started, we've got that covered too. That's one of the things big brothers can do as well. We could talk about relationships, but we can also talk about getting started. And so the next topic we'll cover is going to be approaching a woman you want to meet. One of those things that no matter how old you are or experienced you are, there's always a little twinge of what has been called approach anxiety. Well, how to make that first impression count, how to make it work.
Yes, that's my lifestyle.
I'm glad you got this next one.
Dating multiple women. I can comment. Yes, I've had them.
We'll argue
Yes,
about that.
something I imagine a guy before he gets married is probably interested in experiencing. And as we speak, though I have a kind of a main squeeze in my life, I do have, funny thing is, come to realize that women have a tremendous capacity for, as long as everything's communicated honestly, accommodation and certain arrangements. So I have firsthand experience of dating multiple women.
Now, there's a lot out there on, you got to have this vibe and you got to do this and do that. First do this, next do that. Well, working a woman up is going to have a lot of style to it, but it's also very scientific. There's no difference between humans and animals when we're talking about sexual response. I mean, it's physiologic. And so there's going to be stylistic touches, obviously, that we're going to put to this for you. But we're also going to give you, in the wild, exactly what must occur in the mating dance. And certainly the actual physical pleasure aspect is something there is a science to as well. And we're going to give that to you.
Moving on, sexually transmitted diseases and your overall health.
I'm glad you got that one too.
I've actually had them and treated them. Luckily, thankfully, they've been minor. I practice safe sex for the most part. And overall health, I can comment on my own perspective. Obviously, Dr. Paul will have a lot to say about health, but this is a very serious issue. And for a guy who's ready to go out there and get a little buck wild, this is something to take to especially listen to, because of course these are no fun and they are part of the this single lifestyle environment. So we're going to comment on that.
We'll give you a little touch of the medical perspective on that as well. Something that you're going to have to keep handled before you even get going. Next is going to be what to do when a woman becomes pregnant. And there are going to be some issues here for you that are spiritual, that are going to be about knowing yourself, what kind of person you want to be in the world. Paul and I might have some differences on this, but this is always a risk, just like sexually transmitted diseases are. This is the kind of thing that you don't tend to find, in a high school or college curriculum. And yet, how important to know ahead of time the risks and what you're going to do.
That's exactly why we're here, to communicate firsthand. You're right. As opposed to trying to find it in a book or trying to read it in a health class, we can share exactly what we know about it. Breaking up with a girl with class. I've done both. I've broken up without class and I've broken up girls with class. To be honest, there's sort of a third course, and we'll discuss this, at least I employ, is that in my experience, well, I don't want to get too much into it, but there's there is definitely that moment when there's finality to it. We are done. This is over. I've had those when long-term relationships break up. I've also had plenty of situations where it's a short-term relationship and we kind of phase more into a friendship and the sexual element sort of diminishes. So I'll talk about that too. That's not quite a breakup. That's more of a scaling down of the intensity of the relationship. So we'll discuss elements of that.
Next, we'll be dealing with depression and difficult times.
And I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, exactly. What can I say? Got you covered. I'm a psychiatrist and I've had a lot of difficult times. So I know what to do.
Fitness, grooming, and fashion for A-list appearance. Maybe we'll throw in a little B-list appearance too there. Fitness, yeah, I think
Spandex.
Spandex. We can do that. Grooming, yes. I pluck and cut my nails. That's true. I don't depilate. And fashion, I'm a big fashion guy. I live in New York, and I just bought a $720 pair of Yves Saint Laurent Johnny boots. So if anyone out there doubts my credentials, I know how to get worked up into the fashion world. So I'll comment on that heavily.
Can't wait to hear about that. Time management and organizational skills. This is going to be one of those topics that you can apply both to women and to your career, obviously, but it pegs into that category of missed opportunity cost. If you don't manage your time well and stay organized, there's a chance you could go your whole life and never realize either your mission or the right woman for you.
Next up, we'll talk about budgeting, negotiation, making, and saving money. Actually, these are areas that are particularly relevant in my life, and that was a $20 loan last night.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
But didn't you owe me $23?
Yeah, well,
but I guess I forgave that loan.
No, we'll net it out.
I'm screwed.
We'll net it out. So I back in New York, I have a business. I have several sources of income, and I budget appropriately. So much so that I'm about to take a 3-month world tour all over the world, staying at some of the nicest hotels, all because I've planned and I've saved money and I've decided where I want to spend and where I don't want to spend. And also because I've negotiated heavily, especially in this economic environment, the art and skill of negotiation. I think this was included particularly because I think negotiation is a passion of mine and a strong suit of mine. So we'll speak extensively about this.
Got this one covered too. How to get the job you want and quit the one you hate. Been there, done that several times.
I'm interested to hear more. Keeping your cool and managing your emotions, elements of a masculine attitude, certainly. I also, of course, believe that real men can cry, as they say.
What?
I think there's a proper attitude towards emotions. And of course, Dr. Paul will have a lot to say from a clinical and psychiatric perspective. I certainly know when working with women, trying to get them in bed or trying to make a favorable impression, etc., there's certain things to do and not to do, especially with the ultra high maintenance, super hot, unmanageable types. There's certain ways to play that. And a lot of it has to do with how to keep one's emotions in check.
And then making yourself and your life interesting. Now, there are multiple facets to this, as to why. I mean, there's your quality of life, there's who you are, and then there's the advantage that being an interesting guy brings, not just with women, but also in your career. There's going to be a kind of silent politics, a silent economics of psychology that goes on. It has nothing to do with job descriptions and resumes and things like that. Many a man, if not all men, who have gotten really plum jobs have gotten them because they are interesting to be around.
That's true. The next, we're going to move on to something that's so crucial to a male identity. And it'll be easy to get vague and abstract about this, but we're going to give some concrete examples from our own life. And the topic is developing a vision for yourself and your life. And the beauty of this is that this is a great time to be alive with our institutions and the level of technology that exists. Basically, a man, once he can get a handle on himself, really has the world at his feet in terms of building, creating, working with others. So it's a great time to be alive and a great time to really focus and ask the question, what do I want out of myself in my life? And envision that goal and then build the pathway to it.
And then we are going to wind things up with maintaining high standards and striving for greatness. Good way to end the program. Maintaining high standards and striving for greatness. One of the crucial elements of this is going to be how to rid yourself of perfectionism so that you can live in the real world at a very high level rather than live in a fantasy land. So that will wind things up and finish the whole program. So you'll see, all in all, these 25 topics are going to have little branch points to virtually any other question you could have. So you'll be able to extrapolate from these literally to solve just about every problem that a man could have in life from the perspective of the wise advice of Big Brothers.
Well, let's get started.